Have you ever been inspired by something you saw and you really wanted it, but maybe it wasn't in your purchase point? Um, Today's video is all about taking something brand spanking new and making it look incredibly old. Stay tuned to the very end for the final pictures. You guys, this is simple and easy, and you can find all the items I used linked below. My website, my social media, everything else is down there. My name is Sandra, and I'm the owner and creator here at Midwest Charm. I specialize in repurposed, upcycled vintage home decor and all of your DIY products. We carry Sweet Pickins Milk Paint, DIY paint, recycled treasures, Connie lines and designs, and iron orchid designs, and more. We've got a little bit of everything. You can find it again, all linked below on, ooh, sorry about that, on the website and on our socials. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on today's projects.
In today's video, we are taking brand new items and making them look old and aged and like they've been sitting on a shelf for forever. DIY carries 2 of these liquid patinas that are colored. I usually go for the dark and decrepit, which is a brown. This one happens to be old and gray, and I thought I'd grab this one today just to use something different than what I would normally grab and show you how you can still age items using gray. This stuff is water-based. It has no VOCs. It is safe to use inside. It is safe to use around your pets. It is safe to use around your children. And it's my go-to when I'm working, especially in the winter, inside, and I don't want the heavy smell of stain, especially since we're technically working inside my house. I'm in the laundry room, which is where my craft area is. So you're going to put a good coat on here, and you guys make sure you're getting those edges. You see how those edges, when I lifted that up, it's like bright and boom in your face. You want to make sure you get all that too, because you don't want to do the aging process on the big flat sides only to have those edges just pop out at you when you move it. So make sure you're getting all of it, the edges, and then both the front and the back. Now you can leave this as is to soak in, or you can wipe off the excess after it's had time to sit on there for a little bit. And they both give pretty much the same look. I don't think you'll hate either one. Now I do give this piece a good sanding later on in the video. Those edges are still really sharp and very new looking, so I do want to give it a older look to it. So I do go in and do that at a different point, and that will help with aging this too. And already, I mean, you guys, the difference is huge, right? And this is just step one. And at any point as you're going along doing these, you can stop adding to it if you want. I'm just going to show you how I go ahead and get this done. At the very end of this video, I do have my final projects, and I do show you one of those projects with a brand new, what I started with right next to it, and you guys will be shocked at the difference. It's crazy. So I did old and gray on the wooden spoons, and just the difference right there between the old and gray and the brand new is insane. So we are going to take Apothecary today and work with that. I am going to, on these spoons, do two of them, one way and two another way. But first, let's go ahead and get some paint onto one side of this door tag. And y'all, I don't even do two coats on here. One coat was plenty good coverage. I mean, this goes on so well. The liquid patina, the old and gray that we used, is a sealer too. So it does seal in those wood fibers so that you can put the paint on and it's not just going to absorb in where you're going to need the second coat. It goes on so smooth. So we are going to just get the one coat on this and then set this aside to dry. And then we're going to take those wooden spoons I just did. And we are going to take two of them. And we are, let me see what I'm going to start with. We're going to paint the top. And I just dip my brush into the paint and then spin the spoon to get that straight line going along the bottom there. And then we're going to paint the actual concave part of this. So just the top of this, or bottom, depending on how you're looking. And this also is just going to get one good coat of paint. And again, you want to make sure you get those sides. I love doing wooden spoons, y'all. It like just puts you in a zone. And then I'm going to stick this in a jar upright so it can dry. Now next, we're going to do the end on two of them. And I do them at two different lengths. And again, you're just going to put your brush down and spin it to get that straight line going across. And then make sure that you dab some paint on the very end of it. And then here I am just smoothing that out. And then I'm going to set those aside to dry. So I'm going to do two of the ends and then two of the scoop part. And yes, I purposely did these two different lengths of the paint on the end of these. And again, place your brush down and spin. And then just paint the top. Y'all, Larry's right here. I don't know if you can hear him. He's purring away. He definitely approved of this video. All right, y'all, once these are dry, we are going to take one of the finger sanders that I use, and I have 80 grit sandpaper on here. Now, normally I would never go in with something quite so heavy. I would normally just do like a 220-ish paper, but I really wanted to curve those edges, sand those sharp edges down a bit and make sure that they weren't as sharp. We want to make sure that this appears aged in all ways. So getting those edges smoothed down, because over time wood does wear like that and you want to make sure that it is worn down. So not only am I distressing the paint on those edges and distressing back to the beautiful old and gray that we added to this, but we are also rounding all of those edges. And the 80 grit works really good to round and smooth all those edges. And now I'm going in with my 220 to go over the main part, the middle part here. I don't want to you know, scratch that part up too much. I don't mind if it's scratched a little, and I'm just blowing the dust off. And then I'm going to take, oh, we're going to go back in. I forgot I did that. I'm trying to get, there was like some wood splinters on there. So I was trying to get those all down so they weren't sticking up and smoothed a bit. And here I am sticking that 80 grit back on there to go over that part. I don't know what Larry's getting into, but he's having fun over there. If you hear paper crinkling, it is him. All right, once all that dust is removed, I do go in with a baby wipe and wipe off any remaining dust, and then I let it dry back up. And then I'm going to leave that other side, but I am going to take my sander and sand off those edges where the paint is, but also to smooth off those sides. And yeah, the wipe actually worked much better to get the paint off the sides. Again, this is a water-based paint, so when you add water to this clay-based paint, it does just wipe up really nice. As long as it's not cured, you can wipe it up. Or sealed. Once it's sealed, it won't do that either. We're going to set this tag aside and go back into working on those little spoons. So I am going to distress these as well and make sure that like around where the concave part is on the spoon, we are distressing that, and then all of the edges getting smoothed down and distressed as well. And then on the ones where we painted the ends, I do go over it just to smooth any of the paint off and just give it some a little bit of wear. I didn't do the ends quite as much as I do the concave parts here. And then we're going to quick give them a wipe to get all the dust off. Blowing my dust away. You guys, I am going to then give each of these a really quick thin coat of Big Top to seal in the paint. We are going to seal up the spoons, both the ones here where we are doing the concave part, and we are going to do the ends too. This, as you can see, darkens it up a little bit. It will dry somewhere in between the two shades. But this also allows me to do a little bit more with this when we go back into aging these even more. And again, I set these in a jar to dry them up. And they do not take long at all to dry because I did a really thin coat. And then I'm also going to use that hair dryer to make sure it is very, very dry before we go in with the transfers we are going to use. And again, at any point through this, if you want to stop here, awesome. These make really cute little, add them to a little white ironstone pitcher with some greenery. There's so many things you can do with these. They are beautiful. And you can leave them here, or you can do what I'm going to do. And here I'm just doing the edges, because if you remember, that liquid patina old and gray is a top coat as well. So the rest of this wood is already sealed in. So I'm just going to go ahead and seal in the paint on these. And you can see I'm just dipping my brush into the cap of my Big Top because you don't need a lot on here. We're just going in with a very, very thin coat. And I do go back in and sand it so that there's no like ridge from the old and gray to the Big Top and paint. And then a quick coat onto the tag as well. And then we're going to let all this dry. All right, what are you thinking? This definitely does not look anything like the new ones did. And you can see I cut up some transfers there up by my big top. And that is actually what I am using on these spoons. I am taking one bud, one little flower on each one, and applying it into the concave part first, and using my transfer tool to apply that into the concave part first. Because it is curved, it doesn't always go in as easily as it would on a flat surface. So make sure you're getting that curved part applied first, and then I'm just using my finger to rub it in really well and make sure there are no air bubbles. And we are going to be doing that to the second one as well. And then these will need a thin coat of a sealer because the transfers do need to be sealed in. The paint does not, and the old and gray does not, but the transfers do need to be sealed. And I am going to take my I think this is actually like a 240 sandpaper, and go over this to make the little floral look a little bit more distressed and worn, especially where there's no paint on the spoon. So I'm making sure to do that on both of those. And just a really quick swipe over those, and we'll set them aside to dry. I realized right here I grabbed the black and not the dark, so give me a second and I will grab the dark wax. Yes, yes, yes. So we are going to take these spoons and we are going to coat them good, especially down where there might be any normal wear on these. But I do give the whole thing a pretty good coat. I'm going to let them sit for just a minute, and by the time I start or finish that fourth one, I just go back in and use a shop cloth, a blue shop cloth, and wipe off all of the excess. And I know it looks muddled and messy and maybe not like you were expecting, but just wait. You guys, the final result on these is so good, and they're just so good. Just smearing that around. You guys, DIY waxes are so creamy. Yes, I'm just using an artist brush to apply them. They are that creamy. They are so amazing. And oh, there's my shop towel, you guys. I have been working so hard to make sure I'm working in screen, and I still get it messed up. But look at that. Look at that. We're just wiping this all off, and the results are incredible. You would never know these were brand spanking new. I got them in off the bag wall at Goodwill, and y'all, they were from Amazon. They're brand new. Oh, yes. So anyways, these are from the Whispering Willow transfer, and I don't think I mentioned that yet, but I do use that on the door tag as well. I am working through my last remaining pieces of this. Look at that. Look at the difference. Is that not insane? So this is the transfer we are going to be using on the tag as well. And again, I'm just working through my scraps, and I pulled out some of these floral pieces and then the little deer. And then I have the scraps left over from the little spoons too, and I end up using those as well. You peel off the white backer, you place down your transfer where you would like it to be, and then you're going to take that tool, that little plastic stick that comes with every transfer, and you are going to just rub over where the colored parts of your transfer are. Then pick a corner and peel that up and pull it back as you're rubbing down. Here I'm just trimming off the extra. I'm not using bits and pieces of this because it's overlapping, and I don't want it to be, I'm going to sand those edges again, and so they're not going to be there anyways, so I just cut off the excess first. And you can see this goes down so smoothly, especially since I have that big top on there. It's quick and easy. And then I kind of am eyeballing it to see where the deer is going to go to. And here I am just removing what is on those edges. And I realize I was kind of working off screen, so I find a way to go in and sand those edges on screen here for you. And then I knew I wanted some more floral on there, and I just couldn't decide. And you guys, I end up going with both of them. I didn't want my little deer to be floating, which is why I started them off on the bottom like I did. And then they didn't come up behind the deer as much as I had hoped they would. But I still really love how this little thing turned out. It's super adorable. I just need to find like some velvet ribbon or something to tie through the little hole at the top. Now these have a lot more little pieces that I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting rubbed down, and I want to make sure that it's all applying. If you're doing this and you pull up that backer and a piece of the transfer comes with it, just lay it back down, use the tool to rub over it some more until it stays down. And then I do take the backing and rub that in, and I'm just going in and distressing this a little bit. We don't want it to look, we don't want the transfer to look brand new and just make it look like it's the rest of it's old and the transfer is new. So we want it all to look old. I'm just kind of trying to see if where I want to put this. And then before I lay it down, I decide I need one more floral on there. I didn't want to lose the feet of the deer or too much of the head or the back leg. So we go in and we add that other floral I was already looking at. And again, I'm going to have to sand off the edge of this one because we have sanded those edges to make it look old and distressed, and we want it to stay that way. And now for the adorable little deer. I'm going to burnish this, distress it, and then get it off that edge. And then apply the deer. And we are just layering these up, and I'm going right over the top of all of that greenery and floral. And then I'm going to rub it down with my hand and then rub it down with the stick. And we are kind of going off the edge with his little ear and the back leg a little bit. So we will be sanding and distressing those to match the rest of the piece. And then while I'm doing this, I'm like, oh, I need something off the top. So I'm taking the little greenery and floral pieces from that we cut off from the bottom and from the spoons. And I am just applying them hanging off of the top. Now, if you wanted to, on this piece, you could stamp a cute little saying in the blank spot. There's so many options that you can do. And I didn't want to limit this to being like, baby sleeping or anything like that. I wanted to make sure that this was a piece you could use anywhere. So I did not add any lettering. And here I am. You guys, transfers, while they come to you in these sheets, you can cut these apart. You can cut them apart and use just bits and pieces. And I do this all the time. I like getting more bang for my buck on these. If you're going to pay the price for them, you might as well use every last little bit. So I trim around those florals. I trim around different things so that I can use every little bit. This piece here was the leaf I cut off of the bottom. And it just comes and hangs perfectly on that corner. I was like, no way. So I used that, and then I used 2 of the florals that were remaining, and we're going to give them a quick distress and make sure there's none of that on the little edges. And then let's get this deer on. Again, just rubbing and lifting up the back and redoing it if any parts don't stick. And this is where I decide I need to get those legs done. I was really worried I was going to end up pulling up those legs and damaging one of them. So we are going to switch where we are starting here and just work up each leg and get those peeled off. And then, like the other pieces, we will distress around the edges and get the bare wood coming back through on those, and then just go over all with the little finger sander on a 240 sandpaper and just kind of give it a real light distress. And again, transfers do need to be sealed. So we do get this sealed in. And can you guys guess how I'm going to be sealing in the transfers? I didn't use Big Top. So what do you guys think I'm going to pull out? Oh yeah, we're just going in with the dark wax. We're going straight in with it. I'm going to go in on those edges first since we have it down to wood on those edges. And we want to deepen and darken that first and leave that sit on here the longest. Now, this does have Big Top on here, so there will be some resist and it won't just soak into the paint like it normally would, but it will get down into like where we just stressed over the transfers and over to smooth everything out. It'll get into all those little bits and pieces. Just going to take the shop towel and rub it all back. And I do go in with wax around those edges because we discussed that we cannot have brand new looking sides and edges when the top of it looks so aged and beautiful. And here is a shot of those spoons. The difference is shocking. And here's the finished little deer. What do you guys think of my projects today? Oh, there's Larry. I told you guys he's been working hard.
So what did you think? Is that an easy enough project? It's amazing what the dark and decrepit can do and the old and gray can do, the two liquid patinas that are colored. I'm telling you, they're fabulous. I will have a video coming out really soon where I use the dark and decrepit on brand new items as well. So you guys stay tuned for that one. It should be coming up soon. I just got to finish a couple items. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. It helps out little businesses like mine. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button down below because that also helps. And the little thumbs up if you liked it. And we will see you guys all next time. Bye.